What is going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. We will get started in about one more minute. Go ahead and share the space. Let's get some more people in here, and we'll get started soon. Talk to you soon. Baby, baby, love, that's all I wanted. Baby, love, summer Okay, thank you for joining us today, everyone, on this gorgeous Tuesday. Hopefully it's gorgeous where you are at. It definitely is here. We've got a great lineup for you today, a space that really evolved actually over the past few weeks as we were setting it up. And we've got some fantastic guests and speakers on that are all working together and pushing the same kind of message in industry. So really excited to dive into it and chat with all of them. And we are somewhat limited on time. We have an hour-long space today. So we're going to kind of jump right into it, go over just have these individuals do some quick introductions, and then dive right into the conversation. I will say that we have a giveaway today as well, which I will pin up top for various prizes for retweeting, asking questions, and even joining the Discord. So I'll get that up right now. But while I do that, why don't we go ahead and jump into introductions, and we'll start with Catalin. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure to represent the team, present our project, and hopefully inspire you a little tonight. A very cool lineup today with our friends from, Ciprian, who is my co-founder. I can see here Razvan, Eddie, and then our friends from Ludo, Sergio and Adrian, and from Iteum, Damian, I think, the head architect joined. My name is Cătălin Bărăscu. I am a former IBM executive in the blockchain space for a couple of years. I worked with Adrian Stratulat in a different project. So this is a project that we started 16 months ago. I'll talk more about that. My background is really finance and sales. I came across the blockchain Hyperledger back in the day, I think 2016, where IBM invested a lot together with the Linux Foundation. Of course, the world has changed significantly. Yeah, that's a little bit about myself. Let's pass on to my co-founder, maybe Ciprian.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. First of all, thank you for having us, guys, and congrats for such a big room and such a wonderful atmosphere. I love the vibe. I love the music. Uh, I'm coming from the art and entertainment industry. I compose music for films. This is what I do at base. I graduated the music university 10 years ago, and I've been working with quite some nice people in the industry. I don't know if you heard about Hans Zimmer. He's one of the guys I've been working with in the music part. But zooming back to the present, I got into blockchain mainly via the NFTs, and I got into the hype before it went so viral, working with Crypto.com when they launched the NFT marketplace. And along the way, I met some of the co-founders from Inspir, beginning with Katalin, and we just, got inspired by this idea of, bringing adoption to the ecosystem through discounts, cashback, and the loyalty part. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, let's go ahead and send it over to Adrian. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, and it's a real pleasure to see all these familiar faces, all these friends, and like Kaltalin said, former colleagues, some are current colleagues. Shout out to my colleagues from Ludo, both Sergio, Matt, and Shahab. So quite a big team we have here. I'm just joining as a speaker, but my colleagues, maybe if they want to jump in. Anyhow, it's a pleasure to be here. And just a few words about myself. I'm in the blockchain space, I think, since 2013, 2014 as a trader. But I consider that I really jumped in the space in 2017 when I started building a product. And ever since, I consider myself to be a builder first, and everything after that comes secondary. So I'm really curious to see how we can make the Web3 a better place because well, this might sound like a cliche. Some people say this. Some people still say this. Some people are, here for the ethos of the blockchain revolution, for the idea of decentralization, democratization, and trying to create systems that don't need the middleman or trust. But that being said, we're also here for the culture and obviously the people. So thanks again for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And our last but not least, Ovidu. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Ovidu, is that correct?
That's one of the best pronunciations a foreigner has ever had of my name. So I'll take that well. Thank you. But if it's easier to say Damien, you can roll with it. No worries. First of all, thanks for having me here, guys. Thanks for the invitation. I'm always glad to talk about both blockchain and obviously ETM. And yeah, I'm glad to be back in a space with you guys. Last time I was a guest here, it was so much fun. I still remember fondly the explanations of how communication between shards work when I basically said it's kind of like a postman delivering letters. Uh, so yeah, let's get into more interesting stuff, and hopefully we can share more knowledge and we can basically get a bit challenged and get more into cool stuff, because what we have here is extremely cool stuff from Inspire, and not only. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Damien. Yeah, and it was
Gotta
great
love
discussion
Damien.
last time. So honestly, we need to have him on more, to be honest. But I'll quickly go over the giveaway just so that everyone's aware as well, so that you can participate as well. We have 1 million boba being given away today. I know, big excitement. So we've got 300,000, 3 times 100,000 going to people that retweet the space. That will be given randomly to 3 different people who retweet the space, and then we'll have another 100,000 each for 3 other people who join the Discord for Inspire. And the link is all up above in the pinned tweet if you want to go to that. And then finally, we've got 4 people that will win 100,000 boba for asking a question. Most likely the best questions. So you can also jump up on stage later on. So we'll have that opportunity as well. But please go ahead and do those things and ask some great questions. We look forward to a great conversation. We have some amazing guests here today. I think if we wanted to start it more generic, because we've got a wide diversity of people here and some really accomplished builders. So I think, especially since all of these companies are generally based around NFTs currently, I'd like to know a little bit on how you guys are seeing the future of NFT usage. I know all of you have different ideas of exactly how it'll be used, but it's interesting to see that NFTs have gone from just not only just the PFP that people buy because they think it's going to go up 100 times or 500 times or something like this, but they're actually starting to use it for real use cases. And that's what a lot of the businesses that you guys are doing involves. I wouldn't mind if we start with Catalin for Inspire for this, and then we can get the ball rolling with other people jumping in.
That'd be great. Appreciate the question. First, I'd like to congratulate all the builders on this call and beyond who have survived the bear market, including our peers from Ethereum, Ludo, XO, Snobby, Hero. Everyone here that is still standing is a hero. Lacking, interest, truly believing, seeing the floor prices of the NFTs down 98%, tokens 98%, still building and believing, I think it deserves a round of applause. So that's my quick intro. Now, NFTs are just a small piece of the customer engagement pie. I'm talking from a customer engagement pie. I think over 50% of Interbrands' top 100 brands launched NFT activations. Mostly failed. After 2 years, the Starbucks Odyssey journey ended on March 31st. The business case was missing. They hit challenges with UX, interoperability, scalability, and so on. The digital ownership and the digital wallets were too confusing for the average Starbucks users. But, Nike revamped their digital team. So zooming out, Starbucks and Nike pulling back is a wake-up call for everybody. Now, what we are talking about here today are data NFTs, and Damian will tell you more on the tech, because to all of us here, this is a new asset class. Data NFTs are not PSP NFTs. And as I mentioned, for brands to succeed, they must combine all the Web3 technologies, data insights, and here we have Adrian and Sergio and the team, the data-centric relationship, tokenization, gaming, community-led, generative AI, machine learning, and so on. So I'm ending on this tone to pass on, the question to my peers here. We feel more like a club than a loyalty program. But imagine you can tap to pay with your data NFT at the checkout counter. Your data NFT will simply earn you the most value compared to your debit card or credit card or any other loyalty program. In fact, you can use both the retailer's loyalty program and the Inspire program. So this is where we see the future of data NFTs in the consumer engagement.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Just before you jump in, sorry, Adrian, can I just quickly ask Catalan, when you're saying that people use the data NFTs in, say, Starbucks or anything like this, are they having to connect their exporter wallet, or are they having to connect a crypto wallet to be able to do this? How is that
Yes,
working?
yes, the X portal. So we are building on Multiverse 6, and the data NFTs will live in their X portal wallet. Now, if they don't have one, we create one with the X Elias non-custodial wallet. But yes, they have to have a mobile phone. Let's put it very, very basic, because you scan your mobile phone with the data NFT as a payment instrument at the cashier, and you need to have a credit card or a debit card, right, to top up your data NFT. We'll talk more about the details.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Adrian, you can jump in now. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So part of the experience of offering discovery to the Web3 space, which is let's say a core mission for Ludo, one of the things that we also did was let's say try to educate the audience in certain areas. One of those areas was the actual usage of utility NFTs. And we looked at around 320 something projects in multiple industries and verticals. And on and on, I would say the top two or top three recurring themes was the fact that across many verticals, across many industries, businesses are looking at NFTs as a way to create engagement and loyalty, which in some cases, yes, it did fail. In others, it stuck. I think the main difference is if they actually have a real use case, or the niches where it can find a real use case. And I can think of two of them. One of them is, as we let's say we witness the birth of the metaverse as a concept, the idea of having the next step of the internet, a decentralized, more immersive medium with decentralized ownership. And I would say, if we're to look towards the metaverse as a concept, for sure, ownership will be defined by NFTs. But not only that, there are also some other use cases where we go back to the roots and the origins of the whole idea of tokens, not just non fungible, but also fungible. The idea of having something and establishing ownership without having a centralized entity, or if you do have a centralized entity that recognizes the ownership, then in those cases, let's say the whole bureaucracy or the whole architecture is too complicated. And we can see here examples such as NFTs, in the case of land ownership. I think there were multiple cases where state agencies from Sweden and Georgia and other countries, they implemented these kind of solutions. So there are, let's say, technological advantages and advantages in niches where it does actually make a lot of sense to have ownership over different kind of assets as NFTs. In others, or where there's a gross mismatch between the target and the technological means, like it was in the case of Starbucks Odyssey. Yeah, there I fully agree with Catalin. Most likely we will see it's like a bubble. You see a lot of use cases. Some of them are forced, some of them are going to be natural. And obviously it's natural to have trial and error. Some fail, some don't. But for sure, NFTs have clearly a place to stay in the overall global economy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that's a great sentiment, and there's a lot of different ways to use them. There's a lot of different ways to create them as well, as we're going to be talking about data NFTs in the future too. I was also wondering, Adrian, with Ludo, you guys are also looking to match people with collections, collectibles, artists that they may be interested in, based on, I imagine, previous interests that they've had. Do you see a trend? I know that you guys are still quite early days, but do you see a trend at the moment in more people being interested in NFTs with real utility? Or do you see a lot of people still just interested in, say, well, utility is subjective, but do you see people that's still interested in just a big NFT collection, which is looking to maybe create a metaverse or something like that in the future?
This is a very good question, because in the ways that, well, let's say, we establish those at the root of the Ludo ecosystem, we have the Ludo rank, which is a way of ranking assets, collections, and individual wallets. And we don't discriminate based on utility. So you might have collections that have very good ranks, and the ranks can be derived from the people that own them or from many other things, but not directly on utility. So we're trying not to discriminate in this sense, but obviously, in many cases, if you use an asset only as a speculative investment option, then unfortunately, I think it's somehow in the nature of those NFTs to be passed on to lower grades. Even, I mean, the top PFP collections, they built a utility. If you have things like the CryptoPunks, the Pudge Penguins, or the Bored Apes, they all built different kind of ecosystems. They built a system of, you know, IP owning if you own the NFTs. We have a lot of projects such as breweries or whatnots that are built upon the ape IP. So I think eventually all the quality collections, in one way or another, they're building a utility. You cannot actually look at them and see they're purely subjective or they have zero utility, because I think those that really have zero utility, they also lack the utility, the social means, or the fact that you're proving part of a community. Sometimes I think one way of creating a distinction is the fact that, or a prejudice is the fact that we define utility in a very narrow sense. But belonging to a community or showing support towards different kind of cultures or countercultures, this is also utility. For many people, this is a very important utility. And we clearly don't want to slam the Web3 degen ethos, which is something very cool. The degen ethos is a very cool culture. But yeah, to come back to the initial question, we don't see a clear trend towards utility, but we do see a clear trend towards people trying to actually find quality collections. And quality can be defined in many ways, from the team, from transactions. And I think that's what matters.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think that's a great answer. And it shows we're still early in the, not just in the Web3 space, but in the NFT space. It is still a lot of it driven around the degen and the PFP nature. But there's so much utility still to be found in the space. And your projects that we're speaking with today are really kind of leading the charge in that, which is great. So let's send it over to Damien next, and Ithium talk a little bit about the data NFT aspect of it.
So, obviously, from our point of view, I'd say that if you'd ask anybody from Etium, we are a bit biased in hoping and believing that NFTs are better served when they also have some utility. That's basically what we do. We supercharge NFTs with some utility. Obviously, as we serve the infrastructure itself, what we can offer in terms of utility is so generic that it can be almost anything, and that's the beauty of it. But what I do want to believe is that in most cases, NFTs that are offering just art are going to be obviously loved, loved and loved again by degen communities, which is amazing. But offering some kind of utility will often be something that basically helps you as a collection steal, to say so, some market share from other collections that don't offer such utility. That's one thing in the degen space, and here's where data NFTs basically step up, because you can offer, or you can if you mint your collection as a data NFT instead of a simple NFT, you can basically prepare to do that at some point. Any collection that I've basically interacted with that has gone through the test of time and has basically taken some time to develop their project has gone to the point where they say, okay, we have an ecosystem, we have, say, some cool PFPs, we have some staking system, we have that and that and that. What else do we give as a utility to our holders? What are we going to build next? And basically, having your collection as data NFT, even though you're not necessarily sure what you're going to do with it, gives you the space to do that. Think about simply giving to some random people that have something in your collection, like a voucher that is only available with the NFT and it's stored inside the NFT itself. That could be one solution, for example. But yeah, that's my short take on it. And regarding the NFTs as just a degen tool versus a given utility, I'd like to add a small anecdote here. Just recently, I finished a blockchain coding course. Basically, I've participated in a bootcamp to learn more and basically learn to develop better blockchain stuff. And I was shocked in a good way when I was asked if I'd rather my certificate, because I finished the course, would rather be a PDF that I simply save or an NFT. Obviously, I've chosen the NFT, but this is like the most simple, non-fancy, and also on-point use case for NFTs for which we can march on. So I currently have the certificate sitting right there in my wallet, and basically it's proof that the actual course organizer emitted it. People can see what bootcamp I have used, all that. And I think like this is simple, on point, perfect blockchain usage. That's about it for now. But if you've got question, I'm keen on going more into this.
Yeah, I love that. And it's a great use case. I'm also looking at some ways in my charity how we could do something similar to what you just mentioned there as well, because I think that is a great use case. One of the community questions, which I think is relevant to this point here, and I wanted, Damien, you maybe to give a very clear and simple explanation for this. They're asking essentially why a data NFT is necessarily needed rather than just a normal NFT. And they're also asking specifically for how it's used in Inspire. So, for example, they say, are the points stored in the data NFT for Inspire? And if so, how is it deduced whenever they're used, or whenever they get accrued as well?
Okay, I'll get into the more generic part, but when it comes to how Inspire uses them, I'll let the core details to the Inspire team, obviously. But regarding on why a data NFT except a normal NFT, well, think of it like this: we have just recently uh, launched latest our latest standard for data NFTs, which is called Data NFT Plugin Hybrid. Not only is this data NFT meant to be chain agnostic, meaning that you will be able to in the future to easily jump from one chain to another using these NFTs. That's one thing. But what these do is that you can easily creating a data NFT that's plugin hybrid is almost as easy as creating a completely normal NFT, because the only thing you're changing is this: whoever has created an NFT collection in the past knows that you have to have your attributes inside the JSON file in an IPF on that you're saving on IPFS. The only thing you have to do is you have to add some specific extra attributes inside that file that you're saving on IPFS. That's like, we have simplified it to the point where everything else is done inside our infrastructure and inside our protocol. You just have to add to make sure you have some attributes. So the first reason is it's very simple. The second one would be the fact that once you have the data NFT, that NFT serves as think of it metaphorically as a key to a lock. The data, the data inside the data inside the NFT is basically the lock. What you put that lock on can be decided later on, but why not give that user the key, and then at some point you can think where would that user be the happiest to unlock that lock, basically. Like maybe that user would like to find some vouchers, and that's where they would be happiest to use that key on. Maybe that user wants to find some exclusive content Patreon style. Who knows? That's on you to decide. The point is it's easy, and it can bring tons of benefits if you are just a bit creative and you allow yourself to be a bit inspired, if I can play a bit with words. And that being said, I'll give the word to either Katalin or Ciprian to talk about how they use data NFTs in Inspire.